day, everybody. Can you tell what this is going to be? May not look like it, but we're going to try to turn this into a lion. So this time I took some Sculpey Original, bulked it out, baked it so it's hard, then I'll put the Super Sculpey around that. I don't see a lion yet. I'm hoping it'll come out. I had a very specific image in my mind of how I wanted this lion to be positioned. However, I wasn't quite getting it. Really not seeing what I want to come out of this. So I'll fiddle around with it a little bit more, and if that doesn't work, I'll just start again. I'm just not seeing it yet. Sometimes they pop out. This one's not popping out yet. So it's not becoming quite what I envisioned when I first started, but I'm seeing a new vision now, and that's good. Sometimes they do their own thing. Whenever I put clay on a really thin wire, it's really hard to get it to stick. It shifts around, it moves, so I twisted this wire tight so hopefully the clay bites on a little better. Place your bets now for how many times you think it'll take me to get the eyes the way I want them. Being that I am an inexperienced sculptor, I don't really have an order of operations that I follow. Sometimes I try to rush to one part before I'm really ready for it. So I look at the picture, I move clay around, and there's a lot of trial and error. I realize I just need to make the face cleaner and closer to what it's going to be in the end before I put the eyes in. I'm giving this lion a slightly open mouth, and when their mouths are open like that, you can see just a little bit of their teeth. So I'm putting in some teeth just to give it a little extra effect. I want this lion to look like it's prowling, slightly gaped open mouth, and it's going through the African savanna, hungry and hot. Of course, the first two teeth that I put in there didn't seem like they were big enough, so I made a second set a little bit bigger and put those in. So now that the face is cleaned up a little bit better and it's a little bit closer to how it's going to be in the final product, I decided to put the eyes again. Here goes the second try. many times. It always takes so many times. So those eyes just don't look right. They're a little too small, they're uneven, it just didn't turn out. So for a third time, let's try again. This time I'm putting in a bigger eyeball because the eyes before seemed to be a little smaller than they needed to be. So hopefully these will turn out. So there's a pretty big difference there, but instead of taking the eyeballs out, I'm just going to try to modify the eyelids to see if I can make this look any better. Okay, let's clean up the face a little bit more and maybe refine the eyes as we go. This is the equivalent of a clay eraser. So I tried to roughly scratch in some hair, and you can see that was not a good idea. Never happened, but I have a confession to make. I have no idea how to make lion hair. So I watched some YouTube videos on how other people give it a try, and I'll do my best. You guys are lucky when you watch this because you get to see the learning process. You're not watching a master who is skilled in his craft. You're watching somebody who's figuring stuff out. It gets the idea across. I'll work on it a little bit more. It's really kind of ruffled looking. I'd kind of like it to flow a little bit more, so I'm going to try to combine some of the chunks and just flow the hair a little bit longer and make, instead of all these smaller pieces, block them together a little bigger and then just longer flow. I think I'd like that more. Does that look any different? Any better? I think so. I think a little bit better. On to the next thing. So I'm roughing in the tail a little bit. And I know this is too short. A real lion's tail is a lot longer and flowing, but the problem I'm gonna have is if I cast this, it's very hard to get metal or wax into a long, thin tube. It solidifies, it sticks, it doesn't like that very much. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to take some artistic liberties and give it just a stubbier tail than the normal lion. Sorry, buddy. Some lions have stubby tails, and that's okay. For me, the feet can be some of the most time-consuming parts. They're confusing and hard to get even. They're pretty tricky. I don't like sculpting the feet. I don't understand feet. I think it's one of the hardest parts to do. But if you make a bad foot, everybody's gonna be staring at it. So looking at other pictures, you can see that there's a little tip of the claw that you can see. So I sculpted a second foot to see how that would look. And then I decided, yeah, I think I'm going to put the claws on there. So I took them out and then I tried to put them on the other spot. But that was kind of a struggle. Then I realized that the claws I made were way too straight. And a real lion's claw is a lot more curved. So I didn't give myself much of a chance on this attempt. So I fiddled around with it and did my best, and then after a while I thought, you know what, this looks like crap. So then, exasperated, I looked at it and I thought, you know what, I need to do something else. So then I tried to bend the foot in a better position, but then I realized this still looks like crap. And I fiddled with it, and then I took some dental floss and I tried to think maybe if I make actual toes, I can squeeze them together and that'll look good. So then I tried it, and then, nope, still looks like crap. Then I figured I'd take some artistic liberties and just take out the claws altogether. You don't need to see the tips of the claws. Maybe if I just put a big tuft of fur on there, it wouldn't make a difference. So I gave that a try. Then I thought, you know what? Actually, it does need the claws. So I made a whole bunch of different claws, shaped them different, and then tried putting them back on there. Then eventually, I figured I just need to start working on something else for a while. So I moved on to start cleaning up the face, to the final touches, going over the hair, and just battening down the last details that I wanted to change before it's time to bake. Sometimes I question how anatomically correct I should be making these. I gave them some extra parts, but I censored that from the final cut because it's not that kind of video. Into the oven, and we're done. Well, there it is, all finished. Started off trying to make a lion, and I think we did it. A lot of frustration with this one. Not sure why, but in the end, it turned out okay. Thanks for watching. If you want to see me do more, write in the comments what you think I should sculpt next. I'll catch you in the next one.